I've got a question you probably can't answer directly, but how cool of an idea is this whole thing to start with anyway?
Let me see.
I mean, I think
I
it's
So cool.
yeah, yeah. Hi guys, and welcome to the first ever Q&A for Protagonist, the gift book writing company that I started last year. As you probably know, I'm Zossima, founder and head writer at Protagonist, and my co-host is Valerie, the head illustrator at Protagonist. Before we go to live questions, I'm going to go through and answer the top 10 frequently asked questions about Protagonist, and then it'll just be a free-for-all with whatever live questions we have for either me or Valerie or both of us. Okay, the top 10 questions about Protagonist. Number one, what the heck is Protagonist? I added the heck, but it's usually implied when people ask me about it. So, what is Protagonist? Protagonist is a gift writing business that writes, illustrates, and publishes storybooks starring you or your loved ones as the main characters. I like to think of it as the antidote to forgettable gifts. So each client, which often is a parent or grandparent, chooses the general details of their gift book, including the page count, genre, story setting, and most importantly, the protagonist. Question number two, how long are Protagonist books? Protagonist offers three book lengths, 20, 30, and 40 pages. I recommend the 20 pager for individual children and toddlers. I recommend the 30 pager for multiple protagonists and individual teenage and young adult protagonists. The 40 pagers I recommend for adult protagonists and multiple teens or adult protagonists. Question number three, how do I get a protagonist book? On our website, protagonistbook.com, you click the Buy Now button and choose your book length, genre, story setting, and also put down some preliminary info about the protagonist. Question number four, what happens after I purchase a protagonist book? After you buy the book, I contact you via email and work with you to outline the best possible story for your protagonist. Then, once you've approved the story, I write it. Valerie illustrates it, and after you've approved the final story, I publish it and send however many copies of the finished book you want to your door. Question number five, how long does it take to make a protagonist book? Purchase to delivery time is approximately 2 weeks. Sometimes it is shorter, sometimes longer, depending on the volume of projects, page count, and number of illustrations. Question number six, how are the illustrations made? Well, after I write the book, I send Valerie my detailed ideas for the illustrations. Then she hand draws them in her studio. And once approved, she scans them to me and I format them into the final book. Anything you want to add to that, Valerie, about your artistic process?
Um, no, not particularly. I'm sure there'll be more questions later.
Cool. All right. Question number seven. How many protagonists can be in one protagonist book? So, how many of your loved ones can you put into one book? I'd say for the 20-page and 30-page stories, that three is a pretty good limit. Though in the 40 pagers, I can probably get away with four. I've only ever written for three, but I could imagine doing four. Question number eight. Are protagonist books only for kids? No. Actually, half of the protagonist books that I've written have been for teens. And the second protagonist book I ever wrote was for a adult, so not just for kids. Question number nine. Is there an audio option available for my protagonist book? Not yet, but I'm working on it. Question number 10. What is the most popular protagonist genre and story length? The most popular genre has been fantasy, with adventure coming close second, and the most popular book length has been the 30 pager, which is probably my favorite book length to write because it gives me more time to actually develop the story and add in more stuff. It's not only the most popular, but it's also my favorite. Now, if any of you have questions yourself, please either raise your hand or raise your digital hand, and Valerie and I can answer them. John, I see your hand up.
I was looking for my digital hand. Ah, dagnabbit, I ought to find it somewhere. Um, I'm curious, how do you decide, or how is what's the decision process for how many illustrations you're going to feature in a book?
Oh, yeah, good question. On the website, one of the first things after you've chosen your book length, you'll find a drop-down menu which allows you to decide if you want one or three or five illustrations or none. You can choose to have none. People usually choose to have one or three.
I've got a question you probably can't answer directly, but how cool of an idea is this whole thing to start with anyway?
Let me see.
I mean, I think
I
it's
So cool.
yeah. Yeah, I was actually inspired to start this company by my best friend who had started doing a kind of an unusual thing where he would write in his journal, but just about his actual day, but he would write it in the style of like an adventure novel.
oh.
So he would write in first person, but he would be like incredibly overly descriptive, and he would turn his regular life into a novel. That
Hmm.
reminded me of when I was a teenager. I used to, after I would run a cross country meet on the weekends, I would write up a race run through, which was my dramatic retelling of race. And and with those ideas in mind, I thought it would be really cool if you could put like real people into fiction. Then I thought, okay, why don't you do that? And so I decided to. And so that's where Protagonist came from. And then I had known Valerie for a few years, not very closely, but I knew that she was an artist. And so after a few months of writing Protagonist books without illustrations, which in my opinion, they were still good, but they were lacking something, especially as they were mostly for children or teens. So like it would really help to
Right.
have an illustration. And
We're lacking this special something, this
yeah,
je ne
yeah,
sais quoi, this
lacking that special
how you
sauce.
say it.
And so I went to see a play called Mousetrap by Agatha Christie. It's fantastic, and Valerie was one of the actors in it. And she was fantastic, by the way. My goodness. Uh, and and after that, I think was it after that performance that I asked you to come work with me at Protagonist?
Yeah, I think officially, because we talked about it a little bit before,
Hmm.
but
Yeah,
I was still graduating college, so
yeah,
I
yeah.
was busy.
Yeah, so once she was a little less busy, then she was able to help me out with Protagonist, and her illustrations have made the Protagonist books a lot better, and they seem to be getting better and better and better. So it's been great. I see a raised hand from my dad. Hey, Dad.
Hey, hi. I know your favorite books. I've had long conversation of all of you. I have been blessed to have long conversations with Zossima about books since he could talk. Uh, but I don't know anything about Valerie and her favorite books, especially the illustrated books.
Oh,
Uh, do you like Redwall or the Harry Potter books, or in terms of their illustrations? What are the books that really are in a way your templates, your head canon, your models for what you do?
um, well, I think something about the way that I've approached art and everything is that I've never really enjoyed a lot of illustrations for a while when I was younger. I was a bit of a snob about it, and I didn't like the Harry Potter style. I didn't like the colors and the exaggerated features of the stereotypical covers. But there's a book series called The Sisters Grimm. It's my favorite series ever. And I love the illustrations in those. And I had several other series because I was a big reader that would have, cover art or specifically the black and white, the pen or the prints inside that I adored. Um, I also I grew up reading like Angelina Ballerina and like these fairy tale books, and they always had that beautiful watercolory style. So those were the ones, the very realistic, soft, magical detail ones that always really inspired me. And I found as I started actually making illustrations for books myself now, I've grown a little more interested in the things I used to not enjoy about illustrations. Um, and I see now why some styles have happened and like colors and everything, and I've grown a lot more appreciative. So um I found that I get inspired by pretty much anything I can get my hands on now. Um, which is I think a good thing because our part of what we do when I make the illustrations is I try to do whatever style the person wants. And I am a very adaptable artist. I make art in pretty much any form that I can. Uh, it just blows out of me, you know? And so I've enjoyed making myself draw in styles that I'm not comfortable or knowledgeable in. And I learn and I do, I think a good job because otherwise I wouldn't give it to people and I would scrap it and start all over. Um, I did an anime inspired one recently for the mystery story that we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've never been a big painter. Don't look at the paintings back there. They tell me I'm a liar, but that they're recent. I've always been interested in the black and white illustrations, and so this has really pushed me into doing things that I want to learn about and giving me an excuse to actually do those styles.
Valerie, I had no idea that you loved Sisters
Love them.
Grimm. I'm a big fan too. I think I saw Kara's hand go up. Cool.
Yeah, I just
What's up?
I just wondered if most of your illustrations are line drawings or are they paintings or do you have any examples you can show us?
And it depends on, I have my folder. I have the illustrations that I've done here as well.
Cool.
So when I'm, making the concept, I usually do these ugly little drawings and then the little thumbnails, and then I send them to Z or to sometimes the people who are, depending on how involved with that process they want to be, for, picking which one they like better and all that business. And then I'll do a bigger sketch, depending on how many there are and what we've discussed and what style it is. Will I do black and white? Will I do, pencil or ink or anything? And sometimes it's very important that there's color. And so you get paint. I go, can you see? I don't know if you can see,
Yeah.
but so sometimes they go from this to this, and it's easy. This was not easy. This was one of the toughest ones I think I've done, but also I think it's one of the ones I'm the most proud of so far. So it depends. It really does depend.
Yeah, I think that last one you showed was actually the latest book we did for Kathi, actually. And yeah, that was probably the best. I would say that's the best protagonist illustration yet. They like keep getting better and better. It was great.
Thank you.
Any other questions or
Well, I have a basic logistics question,
yeah?
and I don't have an immediate need, but I've been thinking about this. So here's what happened. So I did one for my nephew for Christmas. And now this last one we just did is for my granddaughter for her birthday. And as people are finding out that I'm doing this, like their aunts and uncles and people that are finding out that I'm doing it, and it's like they're interested, and I'm telling them how to think about it for themselves. But they're like, "Well, I want a copy of Kira's book, or I want a copy of Sam's book." They want copy, and it's like, well, I didn't do it for that. I didn't do this to distribute copies. I did it for the person receiving it. It's a gift for them. But then I got to thinking about it, and I thought, well, maybe I should have gotten his mom a copy. So like when I did it for my granddaughter, I got 3 copies, one for me, one for her mother, and one for my granddaughter. And when it came, my sister, we live on the same property, she said, well, where's my copy? I was like, okay, I will ask Zossima if at some point we ever want to order additional copies, like an extra 1 or 2 copies. Can we just tell you that and then pay you for that separately to just produce?
So what
I'm
she's
sure
asking,
these
Zossima,
are
is
some
if
kind of digital files.
she wants to get case lots. You want to get case lots or for a pallet? What do you charge for a
Yeah,
pallet?
you want like 100,000 copies or
No, I'm
There's a
talking
rough
about 1 or
breakdown
2
here of
extra
the.
copies. Yeah.
darn man, I was gonna make such a huge payday. It's like just gonna make $1 million in a day. No, just let me know how many additional.
I'm fine for now. I told her she could borrow mine and read it for now, but because I don't want to. What I don't want to do is dilute the gift part of this, right? That it was a gift for the person who is the protagonist. But I thought you did a great job with this one. Well, I mean, you did a great job with the first one, but I was really, I don't know. You know me. I'm in awe of your talent. I'm in awe of your ability as a storyteller, anyway. And so. When you came to me and said, do you want me to run this idea by you? I said, nope, I absolutely trust you. I would never, ever presume that I could tell a better story than you can tell, even though it's for my granddaughter. And you just knocked it out of the park. I was just thrilled. But I think that I will say, Valerie, the addition of illustrations, because we didn't have illustrations when I did it for Sam. But it was still a good book. And I have absolutely no regrets about it. But I think I just did 1 illustration, but just having that 1 illustration really up-leveled the book. Mm-hmm. So I commend you for doing that and expanding to that. I mean, I'm just going to tell you, I'm on the other side of the path and you guys are just starting, but there's so much potential in this. I mean, there's so much potential in this, and I can't wait to see how this grows and takes on a life of its own.
Thank you, Kathi. Man,
I talk about it all the time. Like,
Dad.
John David and I, who go way back. Hi, John David. We've both read your novel. You published 2 books. You've written 2 books. You published 1. What I'm amazed at is the opportunity here. These books, the Zossima Granger books with illustrations from Valerie, they're more expensive than a Hallmark card, but not much more really. And you're going to have an artifact, a literary artifact by an author who's going to be famous someday.
Yep.
John David, this is your cue.
Yeah, it's funny you should say that because you teased in one of your emails that you might say something about the current state of your plans for the publication of Hailey's Horizon, which of course I have a very profound interest in because I've read every word of that book, carried it with me through the canyons of New York City, and yeah, what you're thinking? And I, by the way, I entirely concur with the gentleman in front of all the books there. You're going to be a household name one of these days, but it's just Hailey's Horizon is kind of where it starts. So what's going on? What's the plan?
Oh, well, thank you both so much. That is fantastic to hear from you. About Hailey's Horizon, as some of you know, as most of you know, it took me a little over a year to complete the first manuscript. And then I started to apply to literary agents, and I applied to several, 80 in fact, and they all rejected it, which didn't feel great. And so I put Hailey's Horizon kind of on the back burner and started to write short stories and launched my business and stuff. But Hailey was always in the back of my brain, just waiting. Lately, I returned to it for kind of an odd reason because I was playing volleyball with friends, and one of the people playing was a girl named Hailey. And as most of you know, the Hailey in my book is a guy. But I didn't realize until after I wrote the book that Hailey is an almost universally female name. But I had a conversation with the real world Hailey, and it reminded me about my book. And so I went back to it and I read parts of it, and I fell back in love with it. And uh, I I had been trying to decide which novel I wanted to write next, because I want to write this this sci-fi novel and this murder mystery novel and this fantasy novel, bunch of stuff, but I couldn't decide. And then I was like, you need to finish Haley. Like you need to publish Haley's Horizon. And going back to it, I realized that I needed the time off from it to realize that there were things I needed to change about it to make it better. Because I love the book, but it could lose about 100 pages. And and I know which 100 pages it can lose, which is going to require some reorganization. And what it really needs is a lot of good illustrations. And so that is something that I'm going to ask Valerie's help with, which will be definitely the biggest project we've ever done together, because I'm thinking this book will need like at least 100. Um, so it's going to be big. And after I've redone it and it's gotten its illustrations, then I'm going to self-publish it, because I don't want to just wait around until an agent says yes. So I'm going to self-publish it. I don't know how long it's going to take me to redo it. I'd say probably like 6 months. I'll give myself like a good 6 months to redo it. Probably a few more months for the many illustrations it's going to need. But the main thing is I'm back on Haley's Horizon, and it's going to be published, I'd say, next year.
Hmm.
That's great. I know when you were sharing snippets of it with us back in the group, you had us all on the edge of our seats. I mean, we couldn't wait until you shared the next bit of your writing. I mean, it's just so I'm glad to hear you're moving forward.
Yeah, yeah. I there's a lot that I want to change, but there are a lot of parts where I'm like, I'm not changing anything because I love this so much, and I just want to like put some illustrations here, because the ending is I don't think I'm gonna change anything. It's great as it is. It's just the beginning and the middle need some need a lot of um, cutting and just like pulling out parts that don't need to be there, because it's almost 450 pages long, and it would be a lot better if it was like 320. So only 130 pages to tear out, and that's going to take some serious reworking. But once that's done, I think it's going to be better than ever. Uh,
What? I'm sorry, I don't know anything about
oh,
that book. The process so far, just in a couple sentences, what's it about?
oh,
Or is that a surprise I need to wait for?
let me see if I can remember the log line for Haley's Horizon. Hailey is a teenage farm boy whose younger brother Ben is kidnapped by an otherworldly monster, and he has to pursue his brother into an alternate reality to get him back and save his world.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'd say it's a fantasy adventure novel.
Okay.
It's
And yeah,
epic,
um,
epic,
yeah, epic fantasy adventure novel.
epic in every sense. Yes.
For what age? What age are you writing for? Or
Hmm. I think like ages 12 and up. Because I I want it to be the kind of like um young adult and even children's book that adults can also enjoy. But I think because like the only people who have read it have been adults and they've liked it and some have even loved it. So that's a good sign for uh its future. But I'd say it'd be most popular among like teens and young adults.
What about the Substack stuff?
Oh yeah. As well, I think almost all of you are have received my story letter. The every 2 weeks I would send out a snippet of one of my new short stories, and that has run dry for the past few months. And the reason for that is I'm transferring it to Substack, the writing website where you can post all your stuff and get a following. I am planning on starting my story letter Substack, which I might just call Story Stack, in August. Substack will give me a lot more opportunities to do more than just post snippets of my stories. I'd also like to do like a regular videos and book reviews and maybe podcasts or just conversations with authors and fellow readers and stuff like that. So that will be starting probably August 1st, and I'm working on putting it all together right now.
Cool.
It's a great platform. I think you'll do really well there. I
So,
just I just started moving over to there myself with but I think you're gonna find it's a really good place for you.
Great.
are you going to post your archives, your back issues, um, and bring those in, or do you stick
I
them all in
think
as an
so.
archive, or start them as if they were new, or how are you thinking about that?
I haven't thought about that. I think I'll probably just post them as an archive, and but I also because one of the new things I want to do with Substack is to have the stories illustrated, hopefully by Valerie if she has the time. Because of that, I think I'll probably be reposting old stories with new illustrations, and I'd also like to do audio versions of the story, uh, which I did a little bit of in my email story letter, which I really enjoyed. On Substack, I'll be doing that every post, and yeah, also doing videos and illustrations, and it's going to be a lot more interactive and I think a lot more fun.
Mhm.
Right.
Absolutely.
And Substack has the capability so that you can layer it so the people that are subscribers that are paying you can get different options, access to your archives, that kind of thing. So it's
Uh-huh.
not just like a web log where they can just scroll through it and everybody has the same access levels.
Right.
Yeah, seriously, audio portions and then interaction with authors and stuff like that. That's something that you can get people to pay for.
Yep.
Sorry to be so horribly mercantile there, but
No,
Oh no,
it's one
I'm
of the beauties. It's one of the
yeah,
beauties of the thing, and the Substack doesn't have any advertisements. That's part of how they pay for for their keep their lights on.
Yeah.
Mm.
that's great. Yeah, I um that was one of the uh yeah, the idea that I could turn story letter into not only a way to build up a following, but also make money was a kind of a crazy realization. And yeah, I'm definitely not against the mercantile aspect of that. I'm not nearly that virtuous.
You could, I mean, you could really post the ones you've already got in the can. You could almost like release them as if, not as if they were new, but yeah, as if they were new. I mean, because they'll be new to Substack.
Mhm.
And it also gives you, you know, beautiful amount of backlog that's a nice buffer. I mean, so you know, you're not going to have any
Yeah.
deadlines for a while.
Yeah, because I've on Story Letter I've written four short stories, and I've and since I've cut off Story Letter, I've written one more horror short story, the first one ever, uh, and and I also am about to finish another short story. So when I start my Substack, I'll have six full short stories to put snippets in. So yeah, I'll definitely have plenty to post, especially if I have like great illustrations by Valerie to post along with them.
Yeah, unbeatable, unbeatable team.
Yeah, it's yeah, it's the company is about almost a year old. It started, well, it's like 9 months old now, so it's just about to be born. It's had 9 months of gestation, and uh, it's about to explode.
Well, congratulations to you all, both of you, for all of this. I think it's just a wonderful opportunity for you, but it's also a wonderful opportunity for everyone to experience your talents. And so I think it's just a marvelous thing. But I'm gonna have to pop off because I've got some chickens running around out there that I don't think are supposed to be. So I need to
What?
call my sister and say somebody open the gate.
Well,
But it's great to see you, and I wish you well with it.
great. Yeah,
I'll watch for you on Substack. Make sure you let us know because
I will.
we can restack everything you've set out there.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be great. Yeah, great to see you, Kathy.
You
Yeah,
too. Bye bye.
see you later.
I'm loving the mental picture of her chasing chickens in the yard here. This.
It's just moved to a
Yeah,
farm, you know, it's like she's
hopefully,
not kidding around.
yeah, hopefully she gets a video. It'll be like that scene from Rocky.
I too have to split, and I'm so sorry, but this is really exciting. It's been so much fun watching this thing. And Kathi talks all about your talent, and I completely agree. But I want to add to that. It's just really so much fun for us out here to see how much fun you guys have with this.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, producing output is great, but when an artist, in the broadest sense, when an artist is doing something really beautifully well, but also it's so obvious that they're having the time of their life doing it. It's a special kind of thrill. It's like really, it's infectious. It's in a good way. So I look forward to your life on Substack. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you so much, John. It was yeah, thank you for coming and asking questions and talking. It's always such a gift to be able to talk to you. So thank you so much.
Well, back at you, same. And hey, good sir, so nice to see you.
Yeah, so I
Through the
yeah,
decades.
yeah, so I'll close it out. Thank you all. Thank you, John. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Kara. Thank you, Valerie, for coming and answering and asking questions. And I look forward to talking to you guys further about everything.